Everything all right? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Everything all right? Everything all right? Good. Welcome to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. In this game, we'll be recreating the famous USS Arizona. The USS Arizona was originally a member of the Pennsylvania-class battleship launched in the mid-1910s, I believe. The ship is known for its loss at Pearl Harbor, but it served a valiant career, serving in World War I and World War II and the interwar period, while its sister ship survived all through World War II and was actually used as part of the, I believe, Baker test. And I'm unsure about that, but I'll check back later on it. The odd thing about the USS Arizona was the number of 5-inch guns. Normally on a standard American battleship, the all or nothing arm here, the 4 superimposed guns, you would have between 10 to 12 5-inch or 6-inch guns. The USS Arizona had 22 of them, which was pretty unusual for the rest of them, but each of these designs updated parts of the ship, so the next class would have a change in the boiler system or the fuel system. It would change whether it would be triple expansion turbines or steam-powered turbines. The classes usually went from, like for instance, where the USS Wyoming or the Wyoming or Arkansas class had 6 12-inch turrets. the Utah or Florida class would have 5 14-inch guns, and then you would change the torpedo armor, the aiming mechanics in the ship, the computers that calculated the range and location of the target. So there was a lot of improvement on these ships. Each year, it was had a small tweak upon the preceding class. It was almost like your Madden video game where you have small tweaks year in and year out, but the same program. The USS Arizona was the third of the American Standard classes. It was in the Pennsylvania class, which followed the Nevada class, which followed the New York class. Looking at the blueprints now. So there's a center engine room, starboard port, pump room, dynamo, store room. So the ship would have fuel as indicated here. The second set of pipes would feed with what looks to be, on the orlop deck, or tank top deck, or whatever they call it. The neat thing about the ships is that the sides of the ships were built with voids in between the hull and critical spaces. So the thought was that if you had a shell coming in at a high angle, coming through the deck armor, that either the angle of the armor and the void space would cause the shell to ricochet off or cause a premature explosion which would not harm the ship. Same with the torpedo blisters on the bottom of the ship. They were called blisters because they were large metal pockets that came out of the bottom of the ship. It almost was a second, think of a second bottom of a way, but they were designed in such a way that it would prevent an impact from a torpedo at such a way that it could seriously harm the ship. Although the USS Oklahoma had an incident during its final day at Pearl Harbor, the whole torpedo blister was blown off. So the question of how useful it actually was still pertains to this day, because there might have been a torpedo impact on the Arizona. We don't know because of the silt, but it'd be interesting to find out. So The ship had a double bottom. Pardon, sorry about that. Seems a further shrinking will happen. Or not. There's certain limitations of this game, but so far it allows people to create a fairly accurate representation of the USS Arizona. This would be approximately what she looked like in 1917. Yes, I know she would have had more 5-inch guns, but the thing is, with this game, you can pretty spot on nail her physical dimensions. Because as built, she was 29,000 long tons, 31,900 standard tons. So we're about 10% off. She had a beam of 97 feet, beam of 103, length of 608, 670, so again the 10% off. 4 times 3 times 14. Her belt was approximately 13.5 at the most. The aft belt was 8. Fore belt was 8. I don't think she had foredeck in that. Conning tower was 16 inches. Turret was 18 inches on the side. Unknown about the top. And she also had 2 torpedo tubes. One at the front, one at the rear. They won't let you get 21 incher, but they were that. The interesting thing to note about the USS Arizona, which it's a bit bizarre. Range is, she would have a greater range, so theoretically this ship did not have, Theoretically, the ship in this game did not have the range as the actual USS Arizona, which is rather interesting. But the key thing about ships is making sure that the ships were designed to be able to take the same, to receive the same shells that the ship was dishing out. For instance, with this being a 14-inch vessel, you would expect that the ship would be able to receive 14-inch guns. The only time that was violated was with the USS North Carolina, where early designs had the ship as a 14-inch ship, and late design changes pushed the design from 14 inches to 16-inch guns, which meant that the ship that was originally designed to deal with 14-inch weapons could not deal with the new 16-inch shells that it was designed to shoot out. Fortunately, the ship didn't run into much difficulties due to that arrangement, but it was an interesting facet of naval history. So the USS Arizona had a strong career in the U.S. Navy. She was basically commissioned right on the eve of World War I. She became a training ship and participated in numerous convoys getting troops and supplies over to the European front or the Western front of the war. Throughout the 1920s, she basically participated in in transits or training exercises. The thing was that the first actual conflict that the USS Arizona saw was incidentally December 7th, 1941, and sadly enough, the ship that was deemed the world's grandest battleship at that time, unfortunately, was destroyed because she encountered a weapon that she was not designed to deal with. The Japanese, when attacking the ship, used former battleship shells that were reconfigured from shells designed to punch the side of the ship into shells that would just fall straight down through the decks to wreak absolute havoc. And unfortunately, it was on the second bomb that hit her that day that she sank. Before it lost in 1941, USS Arizona was repeatedly shown off in front of a curious and interested public. She was used as a movie set in 1934 for the film Here Comes the Navy, featuring Gloria Stewart. For those who are unaware, Gloria Stewart plays Old Rose in the film Titanic. So Gloria Stewart acted on a ship that later became the U.S. Navy's warship wreck and was later in a film about the British warship wreck. The film she was in, Here Comes the Navy, also features the U.S. Navy airship, the USS Mackerel, shortly before her fatal flight a few months after the film came out. It's fascinating that the USS Arizona, the ship that was soon to meet her end by the advances in aviation, would be in a film featuring what was then the top feat of aviation engineering at that time. At the time she called Pearl Harbor home, she had gone through numerous revisions. Her masts were originally rebuilt into the iconic tripod masts that were able to deal with heavier loads, meaning larger range finders could be added to the ship without issue. Her guns were improved. Her secondary armament was improved. Received a catapult with numerous revisions and updates throughout her career. She was supposed to receive an update in the start of 1942, however, she would never receive that upgrade because of her demise. The USS Arizona was in fact never supposed to be in Pearl Harbor the day she sank. Originally, she was supposed to be off for repairs in order to receive updates. However, due to an ill-timed collision with the USS Oklahoma back in October, she remained at the harbor, and I'm unsure if any other ship took her place. After the ship sank, much of her upper works were salvaged. A few of the guns were taken off, although the number 4 turret still remains. Incidentally enough, the repairs originally meant for her were used on other ships at Pearl Harbor in order to return them to the war effort. The wreck was not forgotten about. In the 1950s, a small platform was built over on top of the wreck of the USS Arizona. That was the first memorial. However, a second memorial was built later on. That second memorial is basically a bridge that has where the giant center, the iconic shear-shaped structure has 2 ends drilled into the bedrock and sand outside the battleship. I highly recommend people visit that site because it's an incredibly moving site. All that can be seen from of the battleship that is above the rudder is the number 3 turret right here, which means the memorial would be right about here. Although only 2 ships of the Pennsylvania class were built, the USS Arizona's design was instrumental in developing the later classes of the 14-inch American Standard battleship. The following class, the USS, starting with the USS New Mexico, featured the same design, but the caliber of the main turrets was increased to 50, as well as there was numerous other small changes. Other ships such as the Tennessee, Idaho, California, and a whole host of others followed the USS Arizona. I am now trying to recreate the USS Arizona as she was close to her appearance on December 7th, 1941. Due to the limitations of the game, I'm going to try this as close as possible, but one of the major changes was that the whole line of casement guns were replaced by mounted guns along the side. There were really like 5 per side here, however, due to the limitations of the game, it doesn't allow you to do it properly. That's how you do it. I see. The nice thing about Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts is you can build several varieties of warships. From the 1890s to the 1950s, it allows you to run wild with a whole host of unique concepts, and you can see whether you are work or whether they are complete failures. I just find that the U.S. Navy refused to add torpedoes to their battleships because that wasn't enough to use torpedoes, then why are you driving the battleship like that? That's a valid question. Although the game does have tripod maps, I really love it. They added the tripod map that was standard of all American battleships, where you had 2 or 3 levels on top of a small platform. It was as iconic as the pagodas seen on Japanese battleships. But that's another story for another day, you can say. Outside of the Arizona, let's try the USS Lexington, the attempted how do I say it? The attempted battle cruiser of the U.S. Navy. Yeah, the USS Lexington was supposed to be a battle cruiser, part of the Lexington class battle cruisers. However, due to the change in thoughts after the Washington Naval Treaty, they were quickly rebuilt as aircraft carriers. The neat thing about Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts is you can rebuild the ships as originally designed. I know this is a rough attempt with the 6-inch secondaries, but due to the unique design of the ship and for it being more like a, how do I call it? A battleship battlecruiser hybrid, this is the only way to efficiently do it in the program. advantage of most battle cruisers. Unfortunately, due to their early, due to their design as Dreadnought armored cruiser, meaning cruisers loaded with Dreadnought armor, they were insufficient in encountering battleships. There were a few other battle cruisers. Two famous examples, Jutland and the Battle of the Denmark Strait, showed the deficiency with the ships. Anyway, that will be the end of the stream. If you have any ships you want me to make in this program, feel free to leave a comment.